Hi everybody, this is Jason Snart, your professor for English 2221, Brit Lit from 1800 to the present, online for the fall 2011 term here at COD. I like doing these little video things. It sort of puts a face to a name here and allows us to develop a little more of that, I don't know, communal feel for what's going on, which we often lose in the online environment, where you don't necessarily see the other people you're working with, and you're just sort of exchanging text messages in this kind of disconnected way. So hopefully these quirky little things help to engage us a little bit more, and you'll notice that if you get into the first unit that we'll be doing, it's all about just having everyone introduce themselves, and particularly, as you'll see in the homepage example, adding a picture so we can actually see the people who are in our class. You may have already received an early welcome email that I sent out. I sent it through Blackboard, which automatically sends email material to your COD or dupage.edu student email address. So if you didn't get that initial early welcome email, it's not such a big deal in terms of you didn't miss anything. But you do want to make a conscious effort to be checking that student email, the COD student email. Especially with online courses, we often get people who are actually students at other schools, and so you're checking that email, or you're checking a Gmail or Hotmail account or whatever. But since everything that is generated in Blackboard automatically goes to that student email, the COD student email, you do really want to get in the habit of checking that one. I would say daily, honestly. I mean, just pop into it and make sure there's nothing there. The same really goes for the course itself. Our due dates are pretty regular, and I'm just going to click myself into our course here so you have access to the same stuff. Our first due date is this Thursday, August 25th. And then we proceed pretty regularly, I think almost all Thursdays. So I've tried to keep it as regular as possible as we go through the term. So that gives you a lot of time to work on the material for the units, but a lot of that might be spent doing the reading assignment for each unit. And so what you want to do is get in the habit of checking into Blackboard on a fairly regular basis, even if you've already looked at the stuff for the unit and you sort of know what the assignment is and that kind of thing. Because there might be new fascinating video announcements like this, or just little text announcements that I've done. Again, just kind of feeling engaged with the class so you don't pop in every 5 days or so and just to see what's going on. You really want to get connected as best you can, which I know isn't easy in the online environment, but hopefully these video things and our first couple of assignments in Unit 1 will help you get a little more kind of plugged into what's going on. Oh, and I did mention that in that earlier email that we have a really small class size. So I think there's about 6 people, maybe 5 or 6, which is actually really good and manageable, because this will be the first time I'm teaching the course online. I just spent the summer developing it. I've taught it in the classroom any number of times, and this is my kind of area of expertise. So content-wise, it's not new ground, but kind of organizationally and seeing how all the pieces are fitting together and what assignments work and which ones don't work so well. That's a lot easier to do as a smaller and hopefully more cohesive group than, you know, a big class of 35 or 35 plus, really. So I think our small size is really going to help us for that sense of, like I said in the email, informal isn't quite the right word because I don't want to seem like this is just a book chat discussion kind of thing, but certainly we can be more flexible if we need to, given our small class size. So particularly as we get into some of the later units, even into Milton and then beyond, there's a lot of the things like lecture notes or sort of background context that you'll find in there, but that I'm really going to try to add to as we get to those units. So you might be seeing things change a little bit in the units. If you look through them all right now, there might be changes as we actually get to them. And then certainly what I'd like to do is use these video announcements or even video material within the units to provide kind of lecture is such a rotten word, but I guess that's sort of what it is. But just to provide some of the background or some of the objectives maybe that we're looking for, maybe some reading notes so you can be reading with an eye to particular themes or ideas that we're interested in. And so that'll sort of accumulate as we get to those units. So you may click into some units right now, especially ones that are a lot later, and see that there's really not much there. There's a reading assignment and nothing much else. Obviously, that'll get filled in as we get to it. Okay, so as far as the setup for our course, hopefully it's fairly self-explanatory. We have a set of units that we work through. Kind of corresponds to weeks in the term here, so there's 16 weeks in the term, 16 units that we've got. You can look at the due dates. Again, I've tried to keep them as regular as possible so that each due date period we're working through that unit's material. Most of the units have reading assignment, again sort of background notes or information or material that I've provided. There might be a formal writing assignment and or discussion board assignment, so pretty standard stuff I think for an online class of this type. So one of the things that you'll see in our introductions here, or our first unit, is that you're doing a student homepage, kind of introduce yourself with a picture so we can see what everybody looks like. And then it might feel like you're sort of duplicating that a little bit by using the discussion board. And I'm asking you to introduce yourself again, but don't just, cut and paste the text from one place to the other, even though you're sort of saying maybe the same kinds of things. But part of what we're doing here is just getting you used to using the discussion board feature, which will show up in just about all of our units. Not every single one, but pretty close. So it's good practice to get into that now in a very informal way. Again, a lot of Unit 1 is really just sort of getting your feet on the ground as far as the layout of the course and how all the tools operate and that kind of stuff. So a fairly low impact start to our course before we get into the more, honestly the more interesting, but the more sort of content focused stuff that's part of our BritLit class. Okay, you can find my contact info under the Contact Your Professor link. So my book jacket picture, which looks weird now that I'm looking at it right now, but also phone, my Skype contact. Skype is a great way of instant messaging or sort of more real-time discussion. My phone number, but email is probably the best way to get in touch with me. And I'm pretty good about responding more or less as soon as I get it, so I should be able to get back to you pretty quickly. Okay, so for Unit 1, really just sort of getting your bearings as far as the layout of the course, and then obviously working through the assignments for Unit 1, and then it's on to Unit 2 and 3 and etc. Okay, so if you have any questions or concerns, or you find obvious mistakes or typos or links that don't work or anything like that, just be in touch with me. Again, email, look me up on Skype if you want, and the old phone is fine too if you want to go that route. Okay, so I'll check in again within the next couple of days, but for now, welcome to our 2221, the BritLit 1800 to present, and I'll talk to everybody soon.